Okay, so in this video, I'll be giving you 5 different tips that you can use to stay safe while traveling in developing countries. Why would I be qualified to talk about this subject? Well, the first reason is that I've actually been spending the past 4 years traveling mostly in developing countries, including some of the most dangerous places in the world like Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Colombia, as well as countries in East Africa. I even spent a month in the ghetto in Kamboja, Kampala, Uganda. So the first tip that I'm going to give you is in the evening, you're going to want to use some kind of ride-sharing app, ideally. So this isn't always available in every country. Sometimes the cell phone signals are unreliable, in which case it's a good idea to make sure you understand how to identify a real licensed taxi versus a fake taxi. So of course someone can just get into a vehicle and then say that they'll, charge you for a ride. But the issue with that, especially in dangerous countries, but really in every country in getting into an illegal unlicensed taxi, is that when you get in, the driver can pull out a gun or a knife or some kind of weapon and rob you, of course, or do something worse. So use ride-sharing apps at nighttime. I mean, you can walk around in the day usually. Use ride-sharing apps at night. The next tip is when you're in a really dangerous country. I mean, truly dangerous, not what you might call a medium dangerous country like, say, Bolivia or Ethiopia. I mean, a truly dangerous country like parts of Colombia, Honduras, like I mentioned before. You're going to want to stick to very public roads, or at least mostly public roads. You want to evaluate how much of a target you are. If you're a really big guy, you can get away with more. If you're a family, if you're a professional photographer and you're carrying around a big camera, if you have to carry around valuables for any reason, then you really want to stick to primarily the most public, busiest roads. But if you're not a target for some reason, you think that you don't really stand out so much, maybe you even almost look like local people for some reason, then you can go on maybe slightly less busy roads. As long as there's going to be a couple people walking on them. But if you're in a truly dangerous country, no matter who you are, even if you're a local, you don't want to go on totally empty roads. I mean, that is how people get mugged. The third piece of advice is keep your cell phone and your wallet in your pocket, your front pocket. Because if it's in your back pocket, it's going to get taken by pickpockets. You don't want to be walking around with your phone out like me, like an idiot. You want to keep it hidden. If you do need to bring your phone out to look for directions, my recommendation is to keep walking in a busy public road with your phone in your front pocket and wait until you go past some kind of bank or official building. Maybe you see a security guard, and then you're going to want to pull out your phone then and look for directions at that point. My next recommendation is when you're staying in an area, it's always a good idea to make sure you know the names of all the people in that neighborhood. I mean, you want to introduce yourself to everybody. So when I was staying in Kamboja, in the ghetto in Uganda, I actually asked everyone their name. Everyone who I met, including people who sold me things, people who worked at convenience stores, I had all their names memorized. I actually had them written down in my notebook. And so when I would see these people again, I would have their name, like, for example, Moses, who works at this convenience store. I would sort of have something to remind me who he was, because I didn't have a big list of names. That would be terrible. Of course, because then you would forget who's who, right? So I had each of their names memorized. So when I would go see the guy again, I would say, "Oh, hey Moses, how's it going?" And then he would end up remembering me as the friendly Mzungu, or the friendly white guy who knows everybody. And then, so when everyone in town knows you, they're so much less likely to actually rob you. At least that's the way I see it. You know, they're gonna get mad at their 16-year-old nephews or nephew and his friends if he decides to come up to you with a knife and take your stuff, because it's gonna, I mean, you're gonna develop a reputation very quickly. And if you don't go and talk to everybody, well, this is actually even more dangerous. Oh, I got a little buddy here. If you don't talk to everyone, this is actually even more dangerous, because somehow when you're not friendly, it's not so much that you develop a neutral reputation, but rather you actually develop, my little dog friend left. You actually develop a negative reputation when you're not friendly to people. So then, if you're in an area for a long time, and I know a couple people who this has happened to, if they're in an area for a long time, people are gonna plot to come after you. I know a guy who was in the exact same city as me, in Kampala, Uganda, who got mugged 3 times, and one of those times was in his own house. And I suspect that it's because he didn't go and he wasn't a friendly guy. He didn't go and introduce himself to everyone in his neighborhood. So the final step is you always want to walk with good posture, and you always want to appear confident, especially when you're in an area where there's a realistic chance of you getting robbed. Like if you go somewhere and you feel a little bit uncomfortable for any reason, you know, you see some people who they just look sketchy for whatever reason that might be. I mean, of course, you want to trust your gut. Definitely trust your gut. And then what you want to do is you want to stand up straight, think confident thoughts, and actually imagine to yourself that you want them to come after you. So this is going to sound kind of weird, and it might be a level of aggression that you're not used to, or maybe you're used to it. But I literally imagine, I think to myself, like, please come after me. I'm going to kill you, right? I get ready in my own head. Like, I just think I access that aggressive part of myself that loves conflict, that loves physical, aggressive conflict. And this will really prevent, people are not going to attack you if they think that you're going to fight back. Now, just to be clear, the plan is not to fight back. If someone, or a group, especially if a group of people comes at you with a weapon and asks for your stuff, and all they're asking for is your stuff, they're not looking for something else, then, obviously you give it. Because even if you think you can win, even if you're really physically large and strong, or if you're some kind of martial arts expert, even if you have a positive probability of winning this confrontation, you still are better off giving up your stuff. Because how much is your stuff really worth? You know, maybe you have a couple $100 maximum. You shouldn't have more than that with you. Why would you? Unless you're buying something big for some reason. You might have your credit cards, you might have your phone, but that stuff can be replaced, right? That even if you have a minimum wage job, you can earn that much money maybe in a week. But you can replace all that stuff maybe 2 or 3 weeks if you have a really nice phone. The thing is, you as a world traveler, you have a lot to lose. At a base minimum, if you're traveling the world, your life is pretty good. You have some money. Even if you're traveling extreme budget, you still have something going for you, right? And these people who are robbing you, they have nothing going for them, right? These are the poorest people, and they don't care if you punch them in the face. They don't care if you take that knife and you stab them in the throat. They don't care if they go to jail. They don't care if they die. Their life is terrible. They have nothing going for them. So just give up your stuff. Don't fight them. But you don't want to give off that impression, right? You don't want to let them think that, you want to make them think that you're so crazy, you're so out of your mind that you're just gonna gonna go right after them, right? If they come into conflict with you, you want them to think that you're ready to fight, you love to fight. So I think that's one of the main things that's kept me safe doing some pretty dangerous things in some of these countries that broke a lot of the other rules. So if you found these tips helpful, I actually have a much more thorough guide, which is on my website. I posted the link in the description, and I'm going to be coming out with a video like this once a week. So if you enjoyed it, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Peace.